Everybody, welcome back to episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm your host, Mike 31. My apologies yesterday. I don't know what happened to the sound of the football video. Um, but hopefully the content on the screen was helpful enough for you there. So last night was really good. I had a Baltimore and Red Sox stack. I had some Festa in those lineups that didn't help me, but the ones that I had, the Cleveland pitcher and Rodon and Detmers in, like, absolutely smashed. So looking forward to making some more money today. 11 game slate. So let's just blow right through this one because I don't want to oversaturate you with like too many choices. Let's narrow it down and help you build some really good lineups tonight. So, Kansas City, New York Yankees, Seth Lugo and Stroman. Lugo's had a good season, but up against the Yankees, I just not a fan here. Wind's blowing out a little bit, 74 degrees, should be good hitting. Not great, but good hitting weather in New York. Stroman's been okay. Kansas City without of an EP in the lineup has not been as potent. And but Stroman, I don't know. I might take some shots on him, but he's the low end of the cheap range for me. Bat wise, Kansas City, I think makes a GPP. Stroman doesn't really give up a ton of power and stuff, so like I mean, maybe they nickel and dime him to death here, but I don't think that Kansas City though their total's less than 4, so I'm probably not going there. And then the Yankees, third favorite stack on the slate here. It's the Yankees, like Austin Wells. What a great season there! Affordable catcher hitting fourth. Amazing spot there as a one-off or your stack. Jason Dominguez, the Martian, did get called up. He'd probably be batting like seventh. He's still 3-6, so take advantage of him too if you're playing the Yankees stack. Well, he's still cheap. So if I did the stack, I'd probably go Soto, Judge, Wells, Jazz, Jason Dominguez. Mets and Blue Jays, Peterson and Bassett. Don't love or hate either one of these pitchers. They're $100 a piece. I think Bassett has more upside, but it all depends. If Vlad was a little bit banged up yesterday, we'll have to see if he's back in the lineup. If he's not, then I think these pitchers could potentially be dead even. Uh, so I think they're in the medium range. They're in consideration, not priorities for me. Uh, I see looking at some of the ownership on Bassett protection that it seems kind of high, but I just don't think I'm going there. So Mets, GPP and Toronto, I always like as cheap fill and just skip over Vlad there and like Eric Clement hitting like in the fifth spot potentially. Um, Jimenez is only 2.7 and Springer, if you can get him in there. Even Vlad at 5.4 is not bad to run up the stack. Okay, Baltimore and Boston, the game that put up runs last night, and I think we'll do it again tonight. Suarez has some good spots in the season, but I'm not going to touch him here against this Boston lineup at home. Wind's blowing out to looks like right field at like 6 miles per hour. So it's, that helps in a hitting park also. And Cutter Crawford on the other side has had a good season, but I just Baltimore, even though the bats have gone cold a little bit recently, and maybe like the lineup's got a little bit shorter without like Mountcastle in there. And I know like they've had some injuries, of some guys, and hopefully they can come back and start doing good. I do like Cedric Mullen up to the second spot. He had like an amazing season last season. If he can like channel some of that back into it, that might help turn this thing around again. But Rushman is just really fallen off, and if he can put it together, Mullins can put it together, and so they get some of these guys back that are out that were injured, it could lead to a good season. But that wise, I like both sides here. Boston, I like more. This time against righty, we're going to go more lefty. So Duran, Devers, Abreu, Yoshida, Cassis is where I'm looking. Angels and Twins, Griffin Canning, Pablo Lopez. I'm not playing Griffin Canning here. He's a 5K. I get it if you have to. Doesn't need to do a ton to pay off his price tag. But the Twins almost have a 5 total, so that's telling me that Vegas thinks that they're going to put a hurting on him. Maybe it's the bullpen after him, but Pablo Lopez has got to be the top guy on the slate. I know Festa didn't work out yesterday, but I think going back to the well here, Lopez might keep his ownership down too. If people look at it and be like, "Wow, fool me once, shame on me; fool you twice, shame or fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me." But I think Lopez is solid here. Probably going to have to be the highest owned pitcher on the slate, and with the most expensive pitcher on the slate only being 9-1, it still opens up to get bad. So thank you, DPK, for not egregiously pricing him super high. That wise, Angels just be a contrarian stack. I think that Lopez is going to have a lot of ownership, and Minnesota is one of my favorite cheap stacks on the slate because, like, besides Lewis at 5K, everybody else is in the 3 and 4K range and fits your lineup very easily. Cleveland and White Sox here, Lively and Cannon, not touching Cannon. Cleveland favorite stack on the slate here, 5.1. Ben Lively, he wasn't pitching when I looked at it. It was supposed to be Cobb. So that brings somebody else into the equation. So I'm not sure here. Cobb had a blister and he might have been a little bit limited, but still 85. But if Lively is the pitcher in the cheap range, I think that you can definitely consider him as one of the top ones up there with Savall, again, especially against this White Sox team. So White Sox are going to be a contrarian stack no matter who's pitching against them. It could be Bartolo Colon, and it would still probably play Colon and fade the White Sox. But the Guardians, like I said, top stack on the slate. Cincinnati and St. Louis. It's in St. Louis, which is in Cincinnati to provide more offense. But still 80 degrees, so when it's warmer in St. Louis, it produces better hitting. Uh, the wind's really not a factor. It's like 5 miles per hour, and it's just kind of across the field. Brett Lauer and Palante. Lauer, I think, is a really high prospect. I think he was up there, the top three pitchers. I think he was only a couple spots like ranked behind Skeens in that draft class. So it's somebody that's definitely has a lot of potential here. And Palente on the other side is another good young pitcher that isn't like a huge guy that's going to get a lot of strikeouts and stuff, but it's a big ground ball pitcher and he's able to like limit like power and stuff. So, and the park factor too, I think is going to limit it. So Cincinnati, I think, still in play in a GPP. And St. Louis against this young pitcher, I mean, they're just so hit or miss that I have them in the 150 max category for tonight. Athletics and Astros, Beto and Aaron Getty. Beto's been okay, but with Tucker back in this lineup and Houston getting healthier, I really kind of struggle to want to play him. So I'll put him in the 150 max category. Aaron Getty should be the top guy in the medium range at only 8.4. Should get some decent ownership here against the Athletics team that's kind of cooling off a little bit recently. But he has gotten blown up at times. So I think Oakland definitely is in play as a stack in the cheap range because besides Rooker at 5.7, everybody else is in the 3K range besides Langoliers, who's like 4.2. So definitely very affordable fill in stack here for you. And then Houston, my second favorite one on the slate here. Uh Pitching matchup here, Darvish and Kirby. Darvish coming back, still ramping up from an injury, and Kirby gets a matchup against probably the most patient team in baseball besides Cleveland that doesn't really strike out and takes a lot of pitches and has great discipline. So I like both of these pitchers. Darvish, again, I have to see if they're going to say there's a pitch count or anything. If we can get 85 out of them against this Mariners team that strikes out a lot, I think that's great. Kirby on the other side against San Diego. Again, think I like Lopez and Gallon much better than him, but if you're mass multi-entering, then I think you got to take a shot on him in case he throws another masterpiece like you've seen some really solid performances this season. Bat wise, and neither one of them, they're just leftover leverage stacks if you're playing 150 max. Evaldi and Galen, Evaldi struggled a little bit recently, and Arizona has been pretty strong. I like him better against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching, but Evaldi's been reverse splitsy, so I think that could pay off for Arizona too. Especially getting like Marte back in the lineup, they're starting to get healthy at the right time. Carroll's starting to hit, so that's been good. And Gallon against the Rangers. The Rangers are going the opposite direction. They're really cooling off. Seager's out of the lineup, so they're just not producing it as much. They don't look like the former World Series champions as they were peaking at the end of last season. So I think Gallen's solidly in play here. Texas would be a leverage stack against Gallen because I think he'll have some decent ownership and people will be afraid to play them against him. So I'd probably stick to the lefties here. So I'm okay with Simeon and Langford, but Smith, Loud, probably where I go. I don't know if I go full five man there. In Arizona, love the stack here. Caro Marte, Peterson, Walker, McCarthy, wrap around with Padermo and make it work. Milwaukee and San Francisco, Savali and Birdsong. Savali is my favorite cheap pitcher on the slate. San Francisco is just experimenting all over the place with this lineup, trying to figure out what's going to work. And Savali's just been so solid. I think he's underpriced at 6'3". It's a great matchup. It's a great hitting park, cool temperatures, just like so many factors to help him here. Then there are some strikeouts in the bottom of the San Francisco lineup. And Birdsong on the other side against Milwaukee. Milwaukee can put up some runs. So I'm okay taking some shots. Maybe in 150 max. I have him in like the fade no interest category just because I think that you're dipping too far down in the well in this one, but I get it if you just want to have less than 5% ownership in 150 max, and just to see what happens if he gets you something like 10 to 13 points at 5.4. It's not bad at all. It's probably less than 5% ownership, which is what I recommended. Anyways, Milwaukee bats, definitely like them. I don't know why they're not on the board there. They'd be in the cheap category. They're pretty reasonable besides Contreras at like you got some guys in the 4K range, but overall they're not like you have like this 5 and 6K guys up there to try to pay for. And so where would I rank them? I would probably put them like right here. So Milwaukee slash Toronto. And the Giants are just below them as a cheap stack. And then finally, Cubs and Dodgers. Imignana and Yamamoto. It's not a Japanese league game. It's a Major League Baseball game in America. But Imignana has been solid, but he's up against the Dodgers is always a hard draw. So I put him at the bottom of the high salary guys. And Yamamoto is probably only going to have 65 to 70 pitch count. I mean, hopefully he's an exciting rookie when he like got touched up by San Diego in the game in Korea when they first came out. But I think that he's then he kind of figured it out. Then he got injured, so hopefully he figures it out. It should be a good young talent. I hate the fact he's on the Dodgers, not one of my favorite teams out there, but I think that he's someone that we can definitely look at in the future, but not in this matchup. He's too expensive and probably not going deep enough. And the Cubs, even though there are some strikeouts in the lineup, I don't really like this matchup here. Bat wise, Cubs and Dodgers are just GPP stacks here because both offenses definitely have potential and wind is blowing out 9 miles per hour. It doesn't at 74 degrees, a little bit warmer than normal in Los Angeles, and the wind helps a bit, but not as much in other parks. So look at the Bills to get you on your way for your day here. So Lopez and Savali is where I'm going here. Naylor, Jimenez, J. Rum, and Quan. I'm just giving you the Cleveland core because I struggled to find fill-ins in the positions. So if you can go Fryer, Naylor, catcher, you can go their shortstop, at the bottom line with Rocio as a wraparound, or try to get like Thomas or Will Brennan in there in the outfield as your fifth piece. But the fill-ins are Milwaukee, Boston, and Minnesota. Like Boston, the lower half of the lineup makes some sense. I tried a little bit of Toronto, but it was kind of clunky there. So if you can find something that works, that's where I'm going. So, it opens up a lot of options. Obviously, at catcher, you're going to be going. Milwaukee's catcher is pretty expensive, and the Minnesota one's middle of the road, but Wong fits in there fine. Um, at shortstop, Milwaukee gives you Adames. If you go cheap in the other positions, then you're going to be able to get that in. Story for Boston, and I think Minnesota has Lee, who's a switch hitter. Hasn't hit much recently, but there's a lot of potential there with him. And then outfielder, Minnesota's got a ton of cheap guys. Boston's got some cheap options, also in like Yoshida. And Brady's not that bad at 4-2. And then Milwaukee has like Perkins and it's Bauer. different sites get me all tripped up here. So Perkins is an option there. Mitchell's an option. So some fill-ins for GPP. Give me Getty and Louder, and then I'm going Boston and Toronto here. So you pick if you want to take Long there, or if you like Kirk better at catcher. At second base, there's a couple options on Toronto: Wagner, Jimenez. For Boston, like Valdez at the bottom of the lineup can do a wraparound thing. He's only 3-1. And then in the final outfield spot, like you could take another Boston guy, or like probably not do Varsho lefty and lefty, but like Springer's there. Schneider should be in the lineup. And maybe somebody else might pop into the Blue Jays lineup or take a one-off. So I got for you. If you have a question, put it out below. Hit me at MegaRuler31 on Twitter/X. If these videos help us back, like, subscribe to our channel, and share with your friends. So thanks for watching. McKinley will have the next couple of days. I'll be back on Saturday for baseball. Thursday night football, I'll have a video, and I will try to make sure there's sound for it. And we'll have NASCAR this weekend. So thanks for watching. Good luck in your contest. Hope you have an amazing Tuesday, and I'll see you next